Welcome back, you filthy exiles, and I am back finally at home and recording from the normal setup. And anyway, so finally after a few weeks I managed to... So while I was away I sort of played this, but I didn't want to do a build update because I just wanted to refine it a bit. Anyway, this is my Bone Cage warrior, and it uses Bone Storm and Bone Cage, so we get like combined DPS of like 200k if we cast at the same time, but 145k on Bone Storm, and like 70 something k on the Bone Cage itself. So it's sort of leveling up. The DPS is misleading as hell, but right now a few limitations around this, right? So this is optimized to do like T15 and 16 content. Can do the bosses in maps reasonably okay, but it's single targets lackluster, and the reason for that is we are so far away from any degree of min-maxing. Like, we're just nowhere near where we should be, right? We've got a long way to go with this build. Anyway, how it works is basically we're just running Bone Cage, and then that synergizes with the Deepest Tower, with low life nodes and Trample Toes, and just blows everything up. Like, it just nukes whole maps, which is wild. So far, it's quite tanky, so I think we got like 10k, 10.8k, something like that, EHP, something in totality of that nature. And yeah, it's overall, like, it's a decent build. Like, we've got running around with 386 life regeneration, which we'll keep amping up. We've got max block, we've got about 41% damage reduction, or phys damage reduction. We're over cap, but we still have our last ascendancy that we need, which is a big defense layer, and it's going to make me pretty chonky. And yeah, overall, like, this build is just like one of those, like, yeah, super tanky builds and whatnot. I think after this, I'm going to do like a Titan or a Warbringer. I want to do something with Warbringer, to be honest with you, and Armor Explode. But at the moment, this is just a lot of fun. So yeah, we're pretty well progressed in the build. And yeah, anyway, it's about time for updates. Now, have I done pinnacles? I did almost get a pinnacle down before I did a bunch of upgrades, and then I just didn't because my defenses collapsed. But yeah, I think now, like, if I tackled it, it'd be no real problems. But yeah, the single target needs a bit of work. I think the best way to do that is to piggyback off the back of armor break, and then basically have it so when I have broken armor, I do increase damage, and we do this through jewels. We can get easily like 100% increased DPS off of that alone if we get 4 jewels, or at least like 75% increased DPS. Scaling off of things like crit might actually be the way at this point, but I just need to play with the damage and the numbers at this point to throttle it up and get it up to a much higher DPS stat. But yeah, overall the build is really good. Like, it's doing the job that it's intended to do. Clearing T15 plus maps is just a breeze, and it's really nice when you can just blow whole screens up, and you can do that quite defensively. Anyway, let's get into the guide and talk about how all the skills work. By the way, we use like 2 skills, and we use like, I think in the end I'm going to ditch Time and Need, and we're going to run a companion potentially, but the only problem with that is dexterity. But we don't really use cast on crit at all. It was just testing that, but we just use Bone Storm and Bone Cage, and I just realized my Bone Storm is undercooked, so yeah, we need to do something about that. Anyway, and yeah, we do use Blasphemy as well, but we'll talk about that very shortly. Let's get into the guide. Okay, so gearing wise, this is pretty stock standard to how I've been playing my builds this league, because it works really well, it's a lot of fun, and it's just consistent, and I can make most skills work with this easily. So we start with Deepest Tower. Honestly, this is just like the best helm in the game, easily. It just gets everything working. We use low life tech. We do, there's a few ways that we get around the presence issue. And basically, we just use like jewels and also the nodes on the tree. So a combination of these presence area of effect nodes, and we use the jewels, but I'm actually thinking that we can ditch the jewels moving forwards. So for example, use this modifier that gives us increased presence area of effect. Potentially we can reduce that moving forwards and not actually have to worry about that. Also, these jewels aren't optimized in any way, shape or form, so they need a lot of work to them. And that basically pushes our presence up, which reduces the impact of the 50% reduced presence of area effect, which makes this helm totally all upside and no real downside, because basically we get all the low life nodes in, you know, for example, finality, and also these finishing blows nodes and stars line nodes. Just gives you huge amounts of damage at the end of the day, right? So we have that, and then we've just got to, because we're running Smith Kitava, obviously we're running just an ornate plate. So we're just going to run like max life regeneration, any other stats, usually life on this. I'm running a Rondella Fragility. The reason why is it's just awesome. We don't need to worry about resistances so much because we're running this Mythic Kitava, and we're running Explosive Impact on that so that we get enemy explodes, just synergizes big booms on screen. Shield wise, we have a 75% increased max block, life and strength shield with fire res and 8% fizz damage reduction. You really need that 8% fizz damage reduction. It is a huge game changer on shields. The wand that I'm running is +5 to all physical spell skills. I figured spell physical damage was a better stat than flat spell damage and cast speed. This is not the best wand that I could be using. There are way better wands out there, but this one is working quite well. My gloves are quite frankly garbage. I need to change them out. I haven't changed them for quite a number of levels now. I just got a little bit lazy with that, and so these are just like any crit bonus damage gloves I could get, but I need to change them. Rings, same deal, cast speed, and we need way better modifiers than what's on these rings. I think this is a level 32 ring. So that's what I mean, like, I came back to this build and just kept pushing it up. Same with the other ring, really just like, it is a patchwork ring. I don't need mana. What I do need is life, and we can throttle more on, and that'll give us more life regeneration. So don't pay any attention to the rings, they're not good. I do use a pretty bad Inferno clasp, so basically this with a 50% or a 45% roll would be ideal, and if you can get more max fire res, even better. Charms, do whatever you want. Same with Flasks, do whatever you want. At this stage, that's basically it for the gearing. In relation to gem setups, I'm not worried about Mana Drain or Raise Shield are totally useless to this build, but we do want to have Blasphemy in the build. Now, with Blasphemy, we are going to run Vulnerability, and we're going to run Magnified Effect, and this is just going to hurt enemies significantly more as you're basically blasting through, which does a lot of damage. Then we have a 6-link Bone Cage setup. In that, we're going to run Heft, we're going to run Splinter, we're going to run Brutality, we're going to run Execute, and we're going to run Arcane Tempo. Now, also with Splinter, bearing in mind, this is where a lot of your armor break comes from, and we do a lot of increased damage with armor break at this point because we are running physical skills. Then I'm running Time of Need with Fast Forward. I believe I need to do something different with that, but anyway. And then Bone Storm, I actually haven't really upgraded correctly here. I'm missing a jewel socket or a support gem in my 6-link. But we're running Bone Storm, Pinpoint Critical, Considered Casting, Physical Mastery, and Bersian. And then we basically just need to put another gem in there, or another support gem. And that's basically it for all the skill gems. We don't use many skills in this. We don't need Cast on Crit. I was just testing that originally. If anything, we can chuck that on and we do a bit more damage on that with Super Critical. But yeah, that's basically it for all the gem setups on this build. It's very simple. Okay, so for the Atlas skill tree, basically we're going to come down from the warrior starting point. We're going to pick up Relentless. We're going to go into Defender's Resolve. Then we'll come down, we'll grab Cruel Methods because we do use Armor Break. Now we come down to Lay Siege. This gives us 75% damage because we have 75% max block. And then Hard to Kill, that gives us more regeneration through to Dispatch Foes, and we want all the low life nodes down here. Then we're going to come down, grab a jewel socket, come across, we're going to get Parrying Motion, and this is just going to give us more block and movement speed. Then we'll come down all the way to the left, keep going all the way. We're going to pick up as many intelligence attributes as we can, come up and grab Hail Heart, and then also in a Finality. Then come up to the left, we're going to grab Made to Last. We'll come up further, and we're going to grab these block nodes to cap our block. Into Prism Guard, we're also going to grab Blood Magic, and then we're going to come to the right, pick up the Vulgar Methods node. We're also going to pick up the Barbaric Strength node, and then basically we're going to come up to Relentless Vindicator, and then finally we're going to try and settle up at Cruel Fate, and this is just going to increase our crit damage even further, make us a hell of a lot more tanky. Arguably, you could also come up and pick up these defensive reflex nodes, but I don't see the point of that because we get 2 gain mana when block. We just don't get the utility out of that we could get from other means. And the other thing that I'm going to play with is whether or not we can take these breakage nodes, for example. This could actually be okay. Or any other armor break nodes that come up. I did try Stand Grounded as an option, and you could also run Battle Fever and test that out as well to see how you go with that. But basically, that's the POB or the skill tree setup. Now, just looking at the actual skills themselves, first of all, you're going to take Coal Stoker for the Ascendancy, then Leather Bindings and Tantalium Alloy, and then you're going to grab Molten Symbol and then Kitavian Engravings, and this is going to make you quite strong and tanky. Obviously, I'm missing 2 Ascendancies here. or four ascendancy points, if you want to call it that, or two ascendancy points. So that's what our next unlock is when we get enough bossing damage to be able to sustain the damage output on bosses. And that's pretty much it for the build. It's not a very complicated build. It's very easy to get started. You just basically need Deepest Tower, quite frankly, and Trample Toes, which right now is very cheap. What I would say is, yeah, like it's not the best build in the world, but it's just a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it, and I'll get it up to taking down Zesh and all that stuff too. That's just now min-max territory. More cast speed makes this build a lot stronger, by the way, and also crit and crit damage and stuff like that. Anyway, there'll be a POB in the description as well as the Mobalytics link. I've now updated the Mobalytics for this as well. And also, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. And there'll also be another build curation coming out for community builds. And if you've got your builds, please send them in. And I'll keep that series going. I think we're up to Season 1, Episode 4. So we're going to keep doing that. That's going to be a consistent series that we're going to do League on League. So you can expect more from this channel. And also, I'll be doing League Start testing for Path of Exile 1, starting from maybe in the next 2 nights or so, in preparation for the 3.26 patch for Path of Exile 1, which I'm super excited for, I think, like many other people who watch my content. Anyway, until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you guys later on.